let's do our hardest example. Now, before I even start listing what transformations are going on here, I'm actually going to reorder how this looks like. So right now I have this. And I'm going to do a couple steps to simplify this, make this look a little better. First thing I'm going to do, instead of having all of this over 2, I'm going to divide each of them by 2. Just helps us see those transformations a little better. And this can simplify. Sweet. Now what I'm going to do, I actually want, if you see this right here, this is actually my translation, my shift. I usually like to put that after because then I can see that this is actually a reflection a lot easier. So let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to move the -3/2 and all that H stuff in front. Oops, didn't mean to erase that too. And then I'm going to do +2 on the end. So now we can kind of see that this is going to move up 2 and that this negative is actually being multiplied. So that is a reflection. And then that 3/2 is our scaling. That's our stretch. So I have that a little better. Next, I'm going to do the same thing on the inside. Move that 1 after and the negative in front. Let me show you what I mean here. So I'm going to move that -2x in front and then +1. So now it's a little easier to see that that 1 is my shift, left 1, and that negative is a reflection, and that 2 is my horizontal shrink. Now, last step before we start doing all of this. Notice that inside I have a stretch and I have a shift, a translation, which means I need to separate those just like I've done before. So I want to pull that -2 out and then list what I've got left. So let's check that that works. -2 times x is -2x. -2 times -1/2 is +1. So now that I've separated them, now I have my translation correct. Phew. So let's highlight what's going on here. Outside, I have a reflection, I have a scaling, and I have a translation. Inside, I have a negative, I have a scaling, let's see if I can separate those a little more, and I have a translation. I have all 6 transformations going on here. So let's detail what is what. So this first negative, that is an outside negative, so that's going to be a reflection up and down, because outside is always up and down. Next, that 3/2, that is being multiplied, so that's a scaling. So, and it's outside scaling, so this is going to be a vertical scaling, stretch or shrink. So this is going to be a 3/2 as tall. So all the heights, will multiply them by 3/2 or 1.5, make it 1.5 as tall as it was before. Next, I have that negative, so that is a reflection, but because it's now inside, it's a side-to-side reflection. And then I have that 2 right there. So this is also a scaling because it's being multiplied. So this is a horizontal scaling because it's inside and it's opposite. So instead of twice as wide, this is going to be 1/2 as wide. Then I have this -1/2 right here. That's a translation, and remember it's opposite. So it's actually going to be right 1/2. And last but not least, I have this +2 on the outside. So that is outside, so the same. So that is up 2. Phew. Now, let's do order of operations and make sure we get all of these in the right order. We're going to work on the inside first. And remember, we do the scaling first. So I have my reflection and my half is wide. It doesn't actually matter if you do the reflection first or the half is wide first because they're both multiplying. So you can have those switched around. However, they do still need to be your first two. I personally like to reflect and then do the scaling. So I took care of that one and that one. Next, I got to take care of my translation. So my right 1/2. Ta-da. Next, now I need to deal with my outside. So I do my multiplying first, order of operations. So now I'm going to have reflect up and down and 3/2 as tall. And remember, steps 4 and 5 can be switched because they're both multiplying. That's fine. But the final step is up 2. Phew. Now let's actually do it. So here's my points. My first point is at -4, -3, right there. I need to do all 6 steps in order. So step 1, I need to reflect this across. So I'm going to reflect all the way across to there. Then I need to make it half as wide. It looks like it's 4 boxes wide right now, 4 boxes from the y-axis. So half as wide would move it right there. That's halfway closer to the y-axis. Now, step 3, I need to move it right 1/2. Then I need to reflect it up and down, step 4. So reflect it up, right there. Now I want to do this 3/2 as tall. So this is 3 blocks tall right now. 3 times 3/2 is 4.5. So now we're right there at 4.5 blocks tall. And then the final step, step 6, I need to move up 2. There's my final point. Okay, I'm going to do one more point with you, and then I would like you to do the last 3 on your own. So my next point is at -2, 0 right here. Step 1, reflect across. Step 2, make it half as wide, halfway closer to the y-axis. Step 3, move it right 1/2. Step 4, reflect up and down. We don't really need to do that because we're already on the x-axis. Step 5, get 3/2 as tall. Don't really need to do that because it's already at the x-axis at 0. 3/2 times 0 is 0. So my last step is to move up 2. There we go. Okay. I think I'm actually going to do one more with you. I'll do 0, 3, and then I'll leave you to do the last 2. So step 1, 0, 3, reflect side to side. Can't really do that because I'm already on the y-axis. Next, I want to make it half as wide. Again, can't really do that because I'm on the y-axis. I'm at 0. However, I can move it right 1/2. So now I'm right here. And now I'm on step 4. Reflect up and down. So reflect it down. Make it 3/2 as tall. This is 3 blocks. 3 blocks times 3/2 is 4.5. And then last step, move up 2. So there's my point. Okay, now that we've done a few examples together, I want you to take these last 2 points, pause the video, try to do all 6 transformations on those 2 points, and then we'll come back and see how you did. Compare what you got with what I got. 2, 0 became this point for me, and 4, -3 became this point for me. And then I just connected them all with that smooth, pretty curve like it is there. So, like I said, that's the hardest example we're doing. That's as hard as it gets. That has all 6 transformations in one. We have one more video to do where we're going to go the other direction. I'm going to tell you what translations to do, and you're going to come up with the equation that shows those transformations. So we'll do that, and then we're all done with 1.3.